Welcome to the fantastic world of stories and why we tell them from Culture Katha. Friends, right now the Ponniyin Selvan fever is raging through town and I have caught it too. You may wonder what Ponniyin Selvan has to do with the Mahabharata, the series that I am currently doing, and why I would do a video on the epic novel on Culture Katha. Believe it or not, there's a whole lot common between Ponniyin Selvan and the Mahabharata. If I told you that the basic premise of Ponniyin Selvan novel is uncannily similar to the central conflict in the Mahabharata, wouldn't you be surprised? Come on, let's find out how. Let's start with the Mahabharata first. The central conflict of the great epic can be brought down to the issue of inheritance. Who had the right to rule? Was it the Kaurava prince Duryodhana or the Pandava prince Yudhishthira? World over, primogeniture has been the preferred mode of inheritance among kings. So what does primogeniture mean? It means the eldest born has the first right to rule. In practice, the eldest born son to the chief queen was chosen to rule. For example, Rama, the eldest son born to Dasharatha's chief queen Kaushalya, was chosen to succeed him. But if you looked at 5 generations of the Kurus, whose story is told in the epic, we find that it was never the eldest son who ascended the Hastinapur throne. Let's start with Shantanu, with whose story the epic begins. Shantanu was not the eldest son of his father Pratipa. The eldest son was Devapi. But Devapi was afflicted by a skin disease, some call it leprosy. So he was forced to abdicate his right to the throne in favor of his younger brother Shantanu. Now we know Shantanu had a son through the river goddess Ganga, and that son was Bhishma, who was crowned heir apparent by Shantanu. But after Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati and wanted to marry her, Bhishma had to give up the right to the throne in favor of Satyavati's future progeny. And so it happened that both the sons born to Satyavati and Shantanu, namely Chitrangada and after his death Vichitravirya, ascended the Hastinapur throne. But as both the princes died heirless, Satyavati asked Vyasa, her son through sage Parashara, to impregnate her widowed daughters-in-law, Ambika and Ambalika. You know all this story. Now Ambika, the eldest daughter-in-law of Satyavati, bore Dhritarashtra through sage Vedavyasa. Unfortunately, Dhritarashtra was born blind. Once again, like his grand uncle Devapi, Dhritarashtra too, owing to his physiological defect, lost the right to rule despite being the eldest. And so Pandu, his younger stepbrother, born to Ambalika and Vyasa, became king. Sadly, Pandu too did not bear any children of his own, but his wives Kunti and Madri managed to have 5 sons through divine intervention, the eldest of whom was Yudhishthira. Before Pandu died, he had handed over the reins of the Kuru clan to his elder brother Dhritarashtra. Although Yudhishthira was elder to Duryodhana, Duryodhana was the eldest son of Dhritarashtra, the presiding king of Hastinapura. Given all these complexities, Yudhishthira's claim to throne was highly debatable. Although Yudhishthira did ascend the throne of Hastinapur after killing Duryodhana in the Kurukshetra war, his eldest son could not succeed him as he too had died in the war along with his other brothers. Yudhishthira was eventually succeeded by Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, and the grandson of Arjuna, who is the third born of the Pandavas. Thus we find the Kuru family had a curse riding on them. None of the eldest sons ever became king. Not Devapi, not Bhishma, not Dhritarashtra, not Duryodhana, neither his son Lakshmana Kumara nor Yudhishthira's son Prativindya, who both incidentally died in the war, in the same war. And believe it or not, the exact same story plays out in the family of the Cholas and forms the backdrop of Kalki's epic novel Ponniyin Selvan. Rajaraja Solan, or Arulmozhi Varman as he was named, was the greatest of the Chola kings who took the empire to great heights. Interestingly, he was never a contender for the throne, being the youngest son of his father, Parantaka Cholan II. This, however, was not new to the Chola family, that too was cursed never to have the eldest son ascend the throne. Just as we did with the Kuru clan, let's start 5 generations back with Aditya Cholan I, who ruled in the last 3 decades of the 9th century Common Era. For some unknown reason, he chose to bypass his eldest son Kannaradevan and made his younger wife's son Parantaka Cholan I his successor. In fact, his chief queen Ilango Pichi, mother of Kannaradevan, was apparently very upset with the king's decision to ignore her son for kingship and is said to have cursed the king. A few years later, Parantaka Cholan I's eldest son, who should have been his successor, Rajadittan, he died young in the battle at Takkolam in Tamil Nadu, so the kingship fell to the second son, Gandaradittan. But Gandaradittan appears to have been a reluctant king and is said to have mysteriously disappeared one day, leaving the crown to Arinjaya Cholan, his younger brother. Arinjaya Cholan did not rule for long, as he too died young in a war that took place at Artrur. Once again, in a repeat of history, his son, through one of his younger wives called Kalyani, was declared his successor. And that king was Parantakan II, also known as Sundara Cholar, as he was supposedly a very handsome man. What we should note here is that although the reluctant king Gandaradittan's son Madurantakan was alive, Arinjaya Cholan chose to give the throne to his own son, denying his nephew a chance at kingship. This may have been partly because Madurantakan was very young at that time. So Parantaka Cholan II, or Sundara Cholar, ascended the throne and ruled for long. But although his eldest son Aditya Karikalan was expected to succeed Sundara Cholar, destiny had a different plan for the Chola royal family. Aditya Karikalan was murdered under mysterious circumstances, and the curse on the Chola family played out once again. Kalki's magnum opus Ponniyin Selvan is set exactly against this background of the conspiracy to kill Aditya Karikalan. After Aditya Karikalan died, Gandaradittan's son Madurantakan ruled for a short period. And it was after his death, Arulmozhi Varman, the youngest son of Sundara Cholan, ascended the throne and took the title of Rajaraja Cholan. Rajaraja Cholan too deviated from the practice of making the son of his chief queen his heir to the throne. Instead, he chose Rajendra Cholan, the son of his third wife Vanavanma Devi, as his successor. Friends, often we find that life is a bizarre interplay of free will and destiny. The interplay of these two forces causes several repetitive patterns to emerge, which are captured both in history and literature. One of those strange patterns is visible both in the Kuru and the Chola royal families that probably existed thousands of years apart. So, do we think of this as history repeating itself, or do we remind ourselves that all that there is in the world has already been uttered by the great Vyasa? I leave the answer to you. Friends, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please do like and share. And also do check out my other videos on the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata. So till we meet again, it's Tata bye-bye. Take care. See you soon, and a very, very happy Deepavali to you all. Ah